Part 3, Losses. Chapter 15, Traumatic Losses of Important People in My Life. I have lived with it, tried to sleep with it, analyzed it, and reflected on it for the better part of 6 decades. That near-death experience in Vietnam changed my life forever, no matter how I analyze it. What conclusions can I draw from that near-death experience and the many traumatic deaths I have experienced in my family before, during, and after that time? For one thing, I have concluded that I experienced the death of those close to me in a different way than most. I am not saying it is better or worse. It is just different. In conversing with my cousin Terry, who is co-authoring this book and writing many of these words, we have discussed several times how these deaths have seemed to affect me to a far greater extent than many of my peers. As a psychiatrist, it is pretty obvious to me that I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. It is common among people who have experienced severe and traumatic events in their lives, such as rape victims, military veterans, or other victims of trauma. High anxiety, loss of sleep, and nightmares can all be some of the symptoms of PTSD, and all have plagued me since my childhood. The Vietnam experience just poured gasoline on the already smoldering embers of childhood deaths as traumatic losses were periodically added to my life. I'm going to recount some of those traumatic losses here on the following pages. They will likely not be as meaningful to you if you don't know the people or my family, or if possibly you were just reading this book to hear about my Vietnamese experience. But they have crystal clear meaning for me. I thought about them all the time. I think about them all the time, maybe not every day, but often enough that they keep my anxiety levels above what they should be. First, let me be clear that not all of the deaths I write about in this book were anxiety-ridden traumatic deaths. Some, like my sister's, were expected and have had less effect on my PTSD condition, but they were still significant losses in my life. But then others were more sudden and traumatic and gave me renewed anxiety, just reading or talking about them once again. Still, others have helped teach me about angels, heaven, and the Holy Spirit, and the assurances of new life that awaits me after I transition from this earth. They give me hope and a renewed faith in my Creator. Whichever the case may be, one way or the other, these deaths have been meaningful in my life. The first such death I will recount here was one of those which was not necessarily traumatic, but was very meaningful to me. In a sense, it was celebratory in nature, as I was able to be with my childhood pastor a few days before he began his new life in heaven.